Will, I wanted to get your thoughts on, first of all, talk a little about the draft, what you do here, kind of what your life is like around this time of year for MLS.
Sure. The draft is a fun time because it brings all 19 clubs together, and there's really not a lot of times where that happens. Obviously, it also brings a lot of the soccer community together, from grassroots on up, and so that's fun too. We also have our PR meetings 2 days prior to the draft, so there's a lot of work that goes into it for us in December to prepare. I help moderate the meetings, and I also hear my staff really works on setting up most of the operational stuff for the media, and we just make sure it goes smoothly, make sure media can do their job.
Mm-hmm. You've always had it in conjunction with NSCAA. Why is that, and is that going to continue?
Well, that's not my decision, but certainly the league has been very happy with the partnership with the NSCAA. It's a logical fit, as players are transitioning from amateur to pro, in the draft. We think it's just a great place for them to acknowledge the coaching that helped them get to this point in their career. Those coaches can be here to see their prodigies, make this big step. So, it's a natural marriage, and I don't see why it wouldn't continue.
About your position with MLS, maybe state your position, and then talk a little about what it is you do the rest of the year and how you got to where you are now.
Sure. I'm Director of Communications, and I guess in how I got here, I was a print reporter for about 10 years coming out of college, and that was my sort of dream job. I worked for the Washington Post and for Soccer America magazine. Before the Post, I worked for the Journal newspapers, which I think have changed ownership a couple times and rebranded. But I was a newspaper guy, and then I went to Argentina in 2005 to get fluent in Spanish. Spent the whole year down there, learned a lot about the soccer culture, and came back and happened to find this opportunity at MLS to work in PR, and really couldn't pass it up. And I've been doing it for 6 years, and I love it. It's a great chance to help the game grow, because you're affecting a lot of people at once, through national media outlets. It's what I focus on, and trying to get more attention, and I love it.
You're also a soccer guy and a DC guy. Could you talk a little bit about how you grew up in the game, how the local scene affected you there growing up as a DC Mid-Atlantic kid?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I did the whole club soccer route when I was a kid. I think I played in MSI for the first 8 years or so, and then transferred over to what they call travel soccer now, and played for a couple different clubs: Bethesda, Olney, Potomac, and really enjoyed it. I mean, that was a big part of my upbringing, was soccer. It was a thing where my next door neighbor happened to be an Italian American whose son was my age, and he just sort of got us into it. We played every sport, and I played organized football and basketball up until about 4th or 5th grade, but soccer just took over at that point. And I think certainly watching DC United in those first couple of years was inspiring as well, because they came out of the gate really strong from a fan perspective. And I think that one of the things I'm always reminding media members is that the fan culture that we see in Portland and Seattle and Toronto, that it has roots, it has an antecedent, and that's in DC. And obviously Chicago came along and did it really well too, but when we think about supporters clubs today, I think a lot of it goes back to DC United in 96, 97, 98, when they were really leading the pack in that category. So I at the league office and as a journalist, you have to be neutral, so I don't really care which team wins and loses, but I do sort of, as an organization, have I look out for DC United because I know so many people in the area, and I know a lot of people in the organization.
You talked about what it took you to get here. You clearly made a decision to work in the game and went about getting it. Could you offer any advice or tips for younger folks who are thinking about going down that road?
Yeah, sure. I mean, there's a lot of opportunities. There's a lot of different types of jobs that you can do in soccer, and I think a lot of people don't realize that. They think that if they're not playing or they're not a coach, it's hard to be involved in the game, but that's really not true, and I'm learning more and more about those other areas as I work at the league office. Obviously, media and journalism was my focus and what I wanted to do, but really you can take anything that you want to do or that you're good at and apply it to soccer. So I think that's really the thing, is to figure out what you're good at, get even better at it, and then figure out how to apply it to soccer.